Good morning, peeps. This is Chuck V, your physical therapist, but more importantly, your health and wellness coach. Now, about a week and a half or so ago, I had you throw out your white flour. Question is, did you? If you didn't, it's because you don't know the reason why, really, I was suggesting that, and I realized that. And in this video, I want to educate you the reason why you need to either throw out and not use white all-purpose flour in things that you're making or in products that you're buying. Let me just turn this around. All right, so I just chose gold medal. Not that I'm picking on them in particular, but they represent a common flour that people buy to cook and bake with. Now, I'm trying to make this so that you can see a little bit easier. If you notice on the bottom here, it says enriched and bleached. And I want you to key in on that. These are the reasons why I'm telling you that this all-purpose flour and flour that is very similar to it in brands, why it's no good. You know what enriched really means? Again, let me turn this around. I'm going to take this away for a second. I want you to look at the ingredients. And I'm going to try to make this a little bit easier for you to see. These are the ingredients on that gold medal flour. You notice it says wheat flour, malted barley flour, niacin, AB vitamin, iron, thiamine, mononitrate, vitamin B1, riboflavin, vitamin B2, folic acid, AB vitamin. Okay. Now, what the word enriched means, you notice it just didn't say wheat flour because that's how it starts. Flour is made from wheat, but there's a process that it goes through to become flour. And the process that it goes through strips out all of its vitamins, minerals, as well as fiber. And so if you notice when I showed you the ingredients in that flour, it said iron, and it listed a lot of different B vitamins, okay? In the enriched process that it goes through, it attempts to put back a lot of the nutritional value that it stripped out. The one thing that you have to know, because you're kind of saying, well, see, that doesn't sound so bad. Well, it is, because the vitamins that they're putting back in are synthetic vitamins. So your body doesn't recognize synthetic vitamins. It doesn't want it. It can't use it. And basically, this is what we're talking about with GMOs. That's how you synthetically make things. It's not from nature. And we went through that whole thing with GMOs of why they're no good. So this is why I'm saying pay attention to the ingredients. Pay attention to the process that things go through. All right? Now, the iron that was listed in there is actually a metallic iron. It's toxic even. Do you understand? So the body has a lot of these foreign substances in there that have been put back in this process to make it enriched, to try to make it nutritionally attractive, but it's not nutritionally bioavailable. In fact, as it started as wheat, but because of the process that it went through, it's no longer considered wheat or a grain. The body, in fact, views it and has it in its body as starch. It becomes starch because all of the nutritional components have been really taken out of it. Really, what's happening is you're being sold a bill of goods. And when it becomes starch, it becomes a form of sugar. And your body responds to it as sugar. And if you keep hearing me talk about carbohydrates and sugar are the enemy. The enemy because it creates inflammation of the body, and that's what's creating all the brain dysfunction type of situations, the Alzheimer's, the dementia, the autism, the ADD, the ADHD. Then you talk about diabetes and being overweight and chronic pain, fibromyalgia, all these cardiovascular disease, the root problem is inflammation, and inflammation is caused by carbohydrates and sugar. Again, this is why we need to start getting rid of all of this stuff. Now, just to give you an example of what is stripped out during this process to make flour, the all-purpose flour that most people are using. Half of the unsaturated fats get removed. All of the vitamin E gets removed. 50% of the calcium gets removed. 70% of the phosphorus gets removed. 80% of the iron gets removed. 98% of the magnesium gets removed. 50 to 80% of the B vitamins are removed, and all of the fiber, or practically all of the fiber, is removed. In fact, if I'm going to try to do this, I'm going to put this back. I'm going to turn this around. If we go back to the ingredient list, if you take a look at where it says dietary fiber, if you can start to see that, it's under the heading of total carbohydrates. The total fiber is less than 1 gram. I'll turn this back around. For something to be considered a whole grain, or like a whole wheat type of a thing, it needs to have at least 3 grams of fiber to be considered a whole grain. If you could see, it said it had less than 1% gram of the fiber. So just about all the fiber is gone out of there. So that whole stuff, it doesn't hold with this all-purpose flour. So what am I switching it to? Oh, before I go to what we're switching it towards, if you remember the other term on here, let me again turn this around. The other term on here was the word bleached. Okay? You know what bleached really means? It means this is how we make the flour white. And what they're using to turn it white is benzoyl peroxide and chlorine gas. What? Toxic stuff. Because, yeah, they're trying to make it nice. Because what that does when it goes through the process using those bleaching agents, because that's really what they are, it turns it white and it makes it powdery and soft. So it seems like it does a good thing, but it's using bad things to get it to be that texture and that color. Don't go there. I would rather have something not so soft and something that's not pure white in order for my body to be healthier. See what I'm saying? Now, again, what are we switching it towards? Let me turn this around. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Trying to get your head and your mindset wrapped around the almond flour. Okay? Want to see the ingredients for almond flour? Whole almonds. That's it. Now, we look at where it says dietary fiber, 3 grams. Okay? Remember, something has to be at least 3 grams of fiber for it to be considered a whole grain. And that's what you can be assured with something like this, the almond flour. It's not going through this process that's putting in, synthetic vitamins. It's not putting in anything toxic. It's natural. And it's not considered a carbohydrate. It's considered a healthy fat. Again, part of what, little by little by little, I'm trying to educate you out of the old way. There's no question that all of us used all-purpose white flour and bleached flour that was enriched. But now, the idea is that we're being educated on the reasons why stuff like that is no good and why there are other options to look at. Something that's more natural, something that's not considered a carbohydrate. Again, we're trying to shift out of the carbohydrates and shift out of the sugars and more into the healthy fats. That's what our bodies want. That's what our bodies need in order to be healthy. Again, a lot of people think fats. We're supposed to decrease those things. You know, low fat, no fat. No. Again, we've been sold a bill of goods with that. Notice that there's so much obesity, so much diseases of the brain, so much diabetes on the rise. The reason why? Because of going low fat, no fat, and you're eating more of the processed foods with the carbs and the sugar and the synthetic vitamins and the GMO kind of things. Just one message: steer away from the processed things. Steer away from the carbs. Steer away from the sugars. Steer towards healthy fats. Guys, I don't know about your journey, but my journey is about staying as healthy as you can for as long as you can. And I hope you take me up on my tips so that you can do that too. Join me on my journey, guys. Have a great day.